call the meeting to order, right at 6:30.
Cool.
Good work, everybody, thanks. And this meeting is being recorded and probably broadcast at some point on YouTube. That's all I know.
Get like 3 views. I don't know if anyone's seen the YouTube channel. They get like 3 views and 4 views. It's
Yeah.
very popular. Very popular.
That's right, that's right. All right.
Good thing I shaved.
All right, so anyway. I guess what we will do is vote on our recommendations for the warrant. And so I can pass this copy around. This is, let's talk about Article 1, which is our budget.
Well,
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all they gave me. I'll
Good
pull it
save
up.
on paper.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's right. Should have printed it myself.
is it essentially what we saw at our last meeting?
Yeah.
The Appendix A, is that something back here? I don't know.
Hold these glasses, don't I?
You need to see it. I read it. Do you want to see it?
You done with this one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So yeah, here's the previous, and that's the new. These. Is that the 1, 2, 8, 6, 7? Oh no, that's the same.
It's the same thing. This is, I guess, they seem to write this out as if it were scripted, so
Yeah,
that whoever it is can then read the motion.
Yeah, this is the actual article here. This is the
And
script.
then they do the scripted motion on these
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, the logistics.
Which I
of
think
it,
is
guess.
confusing.
Yes, I don't. quite
But
get the logistics.
apparently,
Okay, that's how we have to do it.
I'm the
for
only one who
legal
thinks that, so.
purposes. Sure.
Plus, no one asks me. So that seems to be what they're going to do.
And then, are you going to speak after they do this motion? Is that the plan, or?
I don't really, I think probably,
Mhm.
I think that's usually how this works, is that
Mhm.
I'll get up and do my thing before everybody votes.
Oh yeah, I assume it's before the other articles. I assume, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the moderator should read the article as scripted.
Yeah,
And then ask for
and then
discussion.
and then somebody will, one of the select board
Mhm.
members will make the motion, and it'll be seconded, and then we'll
Mhm.
have discussion, and then I will have told him ahead of time that I am going to speak, so he can call
Yep.
on me. And then I can make the pitch, such as it is.
Will your speech be on overhead?
Oh yeah, is there a projector?
That's my
Yeah,
plan.
Okay.
That's my
Will
plan.
it be a
between-
handout as well?
Between now and then, I'm gonna figure out how to make that happen. I don't know. Should there be a handout? And if there is a handout, what is it? Is it the whole thing? Not the whole thing. Is it the whole thing? Is the whole thing?
Yeah, why not?
I would do the whole thing. And we
It
probably
depends on how
only
big
need
the projector is, if people can see it from the back. Yeah.
50 copies.
Wait, 110 at the last, 120? Yeah, at the last.
Yeah,
Where are all
Well-
those people going to be?
yeah, I know.
Well, it's a trip to Staples and run it off for about $35.
That doesn't matter.
Do they definitely have a projector in there? I can't visualize, like, on the stage in the gym.
We've had
We have-
there've been
okay, I
projectors
guess I
in there
can't- I don't-
before.
Yeah, okay.
That's one of the things I'm gonna
Talk to, yeah,
figure
Sandy,
out.
yeah.
Because I don't have a projector.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
either.
I'm not planning on buying a projector. Town.
put it
So-
into free cash, we'll use free cash for it.
That's right. Oh, yeah,
Capital
that's 60,
expense.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
that
But, yeah,
68,000, then it needs to be
Projectors could be
69,000.
expensive, that could be quite expensive.
For my projector. No, all right.
I
Well,
think your presentation would be more effective if it were in writing in people's hands. I think
Okay.
a projector would be helpful as well.
Yep.
Okay.
However, I think with everything that you've put into this, for people to follow along,
Yep.
sometimes it's
Okay.
not visible
That's true.
at the projector level.
Yep.
And to get the most impact
Okay,
out of what you've put into this,
And also
and what we've
something
all
to
put
take-
into it,
Take with them.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think a handout would be advisable.
okay, all right, then I will do that. All right, and the handout will be the whole thing. Okay. All righty.
You can do two-sided if you want to save money.
Yeah.
There you go.
I hate two-sided, so it will not be two-sided.
You could, because if you do the slides, you could get like 6 slides. They make a 6-slide template, I think, right, per page on like PowerPoint. When you print it, you can print like 6 slides, like in a.
Yeah, you
I
can. You
also
can do
hate that.
two.
Yeah,
Two.
yeah.
I
I
hate
like the
everything.
two.
Yeah.
You'll discover tonight. Okay, so I'll figure out those details, but the
All right.
long and the short of it is that we're gonna have the handout and it'll be the whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Let's talk about the handout then, since we're talking about all this stuff. Thank you, Josh, for your comments. I like them, and I'm going to take them all and probably tweak them a little bit.
Yeah, because some of them were just like long like ideas. I didn't really make it.
Yeah,
like,
that's,
bullet-
yeah, and
bullet points
some
or
of
whatever, yeah.
the ones, I do these, I write like I talk for this type
Yep.
of a presentation, and I need to shrink some of that down so that it's a more, I'll say all of it, but
Mhm.
but in terms of the bullets, I don't want my sentences in there.
Mhm.
It's usually better to have it a little crisper.
PFFT.
Like, psh.
Right? Have you ever heard that?
I
Bill the
haven't.
Cat says it in Bloom County.
Okay, all right.
All right, I
You
didn't,
write
I
like-
didn't see your recommendation, so.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I sent them out. A couple things, like it was just, some of it was just like wording of things.
Yeah, he wants, a couple of them, he said, let's be more positive.
I spent
Well,
15.
if I must.
I mean, yeah, I had just a couple minor suggested edits too, so, but.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you send them
Yeah.
to me then, because I'll take them all.
Okay.
That's that's always good, yeah. If you, Peter, if you have
think
anything
we
you want to
should-
throw at me, that'll be good. I'll be wrapping it up this weekend, because I don't want to be doing this
Right.
Tuesday night, and I've got to go
gotta
to
rehearse it.
Staples,
Yeah.
and I got to do it a couple times.
Yeah, none of
Wait,
my.
we can't just make the copies in the office? I mean, why?
Trying to save on
Oh, so
paper.
okay.
I'll
Yeah.
I think it'd be more
make
efficient
some
at
client pay
space.
for it.
Yeah. One thing I would say is I would definitely stress that like I think the select board should do this too, is that at annual town meeting we can count on having a 2.5, like that'll be on the warrant for the annual town meeting this in June, right, for the next budget. Like there's just no other way of like being very explicit, like show up at the next annual town meeting, because there will be a 2.5 on the agenda, I guess, is almost like putting it on the agenda for
It needs to be on the ballot.
yeah, but does it go to
It's on town meeting and the ballot.
Yeah,
so
it has to pass
it gets
both.
voted on twice. That's why it passes at town meeting and fails at the ballot. It's
Oh, I didn't realize
historically
that.
what
Oh, I didn't
happens.
realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. I've been in this town for a little over 30 years, and we only passed one time. It was for the school.
Yep, well, be for the school again.
Which, back then, it made sense, but this stuff,
What were the circumstances then? Because I think that might predate me.
that was to redo this school.
Oh, and the
Oh,
Center
it does
School was built.
predate me. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So it was a capital
Yes,
expense,
yep.
not a, yes.
Yeah, not a
that
budget,
makes-
no, yeah,
Yeah.
I really, well, I understand that we're gonna need to ask. I just don't see it happening to get, that the town, and that the people are gonna vote for to override.
You know, the only reason I thought they would was because they organized and voted for the school budget.
but a very small number over the population of the town.
I also didn't realize.
Oh, no, I know
forgot
that.
it was an
I
actual
get
ballot.
that. But they organized. That was different in my experience from what usually randomly happens here.
Yep, well, because they had pushing from other towns helping them too, so I used what worked in Barry and so, but that's whole different as far as actually being, now, said, next year we need to do something different because these special town meetings are not the way to get this done.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So we talked about that. So I'm gonna make copies and figure out the technical stuff. Which I'll ask our friendly person here who's filming this, who's gonna wander in here around 7:30 when I told her we'd probably be done. So I'll try to hold that thought. All right. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do in terms of our recommendation? I mean, I basically said, as you know, in the presentation that we're gonna recommend this with guns to our head. And maybe that will be
Yep.
the recommendation that we are giving.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The recommendation is to not cut into personnel,
Right.
staffing, or public safety. And by going into free cash, we're avoiding doing that. And that's the only reason that we're recommending free cash to balance the budget, is to avoid it. However, I think in your presentation, you make it pretty clear that in the future, given our income limitations with 2.5 versus the budget expense item of the school, which exceeds even what we take in, we're going to be looking at this again in the future.
Yeah.
So a 2.5 override would be almost required in order not to continuously drain free cash.
Well, at some point, our free cash too we won't even have any free cash. I mean, you know,
And at
starting
the-
next year,
right.
we're actually starting with a quarter of what we had at the start of this year, and that's having less that's going to roll over because we've really trimmed everything down. So there's going to be much less that rolls over
Right.
for next year as well.
Right. Well,
So,
we
yeah.
aren't gonna meet the capital budget, the capital plan for next year.
Right,
We aren't
right,
going to.
yeah.
How do we
yeah.
approach that? Do we?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably
is at some
push
point
that
are we going to make a recommendation that we suspend the capital plan?
Yeah, I guess
for
that would actually be
24?
it. That's right. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, otherwise, how are we going to approach the budget next year?
right.
And do we have that authority to make that recommendation to whom? The selectmen?
Yeah, I mean, everything goes to them.
Yeah. What was on the plan?
Well,
that plan for
you've
next
primed the
year?
pump, Susan.
What was on the capital plan for next year?
I mean,
Like,
what items?
yeah.
If I fish around on this website long
It is,
enough,
yeah.
I
There's
can
a
probably
capital
tell you.
plan for like
An
22 to
ambulance
26.
is
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I didn't look at the
And a
line
fire
items.
truck.
I looked at the number.
Yeah, it's like $500,000.
It's a $500,000.
Yep.
Yep.
But I think there's one or two vehicles on it. And I don't remember what else, to be honest.
There's always a police vehicle.
You want me to look?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, I think that's stressing that we're doing this one-time free cash usage at our own risk, and we can't do it again.
Well, even if we didn't do it, we still don't have enough free cash. I mean, then
That's
there's
true.
also that piece. But I think the expectation may have been that the expectation was maybe we could stave this off another year. I mean, we all knew this day. Everybody knew this day was going to come. It's just come faster now. Because that was the built-in structural deficit thing that Ryan
Yep.
mapped out. So we all knew. I think we thought it was going to happen in 25 or 26, but now it's going to happen next year because we accelerated. Because it was accelerated. All right.
So then make a motion to.
Yeah, let's
To
take a
appro- to
vote
approve.
for that.
Or to recommend, I'll make a motion to recommend, are we just gonna do Article 1 or we should just do them all
We're gonna
collectively?
do 'em- Oh,
Or
we can do them all collectively. Yeah, I mean, whatever. All right, so that's that one. Let's see, Article 2, well, that's that.
That's where we're gonna use, the free
Right.
cash for
Yeah,
that.
get free cash gets spent for that. See, that's the thing. I mean, we're paying 68.8 for Article 1.
Mhm.
Then we got all this other stuff
Yeah, that's right.
that came
Yep,
wandering
stuff,
in.
right, stuff that should have been paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, it's important, I don't know if, you did mention it in your PowerPoint that free cash is essentially the previous years. But these, number 2 and number 3, this 107? Yeah. So those are items that we budgeted for, but we didn't receive bills.
Yeah.
And so the money went into free cash.
Yes,
Yeah,
it didn't belong there in the
Right.
first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
And they're also one-time expenses as opposed to operating budget. So that's the other.
But they were,
Yeah.
nonetheless, they were still budgeted for, correct?
As far as I know, they
Yeah,
were, yeah.
I know the audit was,
107 The 10740, that was some sort of an overage for something or other. That
Yeah.
may not have
Some
been,
paving,
so that would
the
have been.
$100, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would have been, come to us as a
Yeah, and yeah.
But the
transfer
accountants,
thing. The accountant thing, they
Definitely.
flubbed, they missed it.
Okay.
So that was budgeted for and not paid.
And but the construction one was also something that had something to do. I don't know if was that budgeted for. I don't know if that had been budgeted for because that had
No,
to do with
it was
the
unknown. They didn't know
Yeah.
about it. That's what we were told anyways.
Mhm.
They didn't know, and it came up.
I mean, that's the least of our
Right.
problems. So I'm not too,
All right. Well,
Wound up
do you want to
about
make a
that.
motion to recommend all 3 of these?
Sure. Yeah. I'll make a motion that the finance committee recommends all 3 articles of the special town meeting for October 26th.
Second.
all right, any further discussion? I just want to
Yep.
mention for Article 3, the push was, Josh, I don't think you were there. The push was to try to get all 20 grand out of free cash.
Right. As opposed to ARPA, it was like 50-50 with ARPA or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was I was
That's-
at that meeting. It
Oh,
was,
okay, all
I
right.
think, but yeah.
All right, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, great. Now then. All right, so we talked about that, we talked about my presentation. What else did I say? What we wanted to talk about? I don't think anything, right?
Other matters that might come before you.
Here's another matter that has come before us. The select board have decided upon a new town administrator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we heard that.
The new town administrator's Achilles heel is finance. The new town administrator has never been a town administrator
Mm-hmm.
and does not have any financial experience.
What is the person's background? Like in some sort of public administration or?
Yeah, he's currently the town clerk of something or other,
Okay.
and is also on the, I think, on the Gardner City Council.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd have to fish up his resume to, if I even have it. I think all I had was hard copies. He is young. He's probably, maybe I would put him at maybe mid-30s. Mid to late 30s.
Oh, that's really young.
Yeah.
Is he a resident of Hubbardston?
I do not believe so. So,
So this, you were on the interview, you were on the committee, right?
yes.
I was actually surprised they found someone this quickly.
Yeah, well, we had some folks to consider, and say several, but really I think it was 2 two of the four candidates that we were going to put forth went elsewhere. Unfortunately, we had a lag between the time the committee selected the contestants to candidates to go before the select board, and when the select board could meet. And there was a 2-week gap. And at that point, we're not the only game in town. Candidates were looking elsewhere, and they got offers, and so they took it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Were there questions, like, during the interview process, was the candidates sort of tech quizzed or whatever on the finances of our town, or like of the town, or managing the finances? I feel like, because that's one of the biggest jobs of the town administrator, I would think, is.
well, this is my sense of things, but admittedly, we only know part of the elephant. I mean,
Mhm.
I guess there's an HR component, and other wheelings and dealings that have to happen here. But in my opinion, that pales in
Right.
comparison to what is going on with this. The process was interesting. It was directed largely by the consultants who had canned questions from which we could pick.
Mhm.
So, and then everyone was asked, all the candidates were asked all the same questions, obviously. So, and it wasn't hard from the resumes to tease out who had that kind of experience and who did not. And there were candidates that had that experience, but who the select board did not choose. So, the select board mentioned to me while I was waiting for this meeting that that was not going to be a problem since we had such an awesome finance committee.
I don't know, my term's up at the town meeting, right?
So
'Cause
is mine.
yeah.
So is mine.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
I
thinking,
think mine's up.
Mine's up at the end of the year.
I'm just appointed, so I only had 1 year because I got appointed this.
oh, that's
yeah,
right,
so
because you
I'm
screwed all
definitely
that
yeah.
up. That's
Yeah.
right. All
I
right,
never
let's
got
let's look and see where all our stuff is up. God.
So are we going to meet with that person then, starting in like the winter, to start getting the next budget cycle? I know we're still in the previous budget, but sort of the next cycle, or
Well,
a
this
quarter
says
of- at
Josh
least
Lerner is up in June 2022, but you've been pushed out to 2023.
23. Yes, that's true. Yeah,
We're
that's-
all up. We're all up.
So everyone
next
is
year.
up. So
Everyone's
that's
up.
so funny.
Everyone's up next year.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like meeting with that person, they're officially hired, or
They have extended an offer
okay.
subject to a background check and
Oh,
some
yeah,
other thing
okay.
which I can't remember.
references or
And
something.
and whatever those hoops are, and
Mhm.
and he has accepted subject to all
Sure.
of those things. I don't know how long that takes, but I don't expect it takes terribly long.
Mhm.
And I would think he would be starting most conveniently after the special town meeting.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, whoever it is coming into already halfway through the fiscal year to try to get the next budget ready, and is facing a budget nightmare. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that we can think about is how shall we go about this? I am used to having Ryan
yeah,
do all
do
the
the whole
work
budget, right?
and come wandering in and say, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
I am not prepared to create a budget.
Yeah.
No, that's not, it's
That's not our job.
Right.
It's oversight, I think,
Right.
is what
Yes.
our job is
Yeah.
sort of like the oversight.
That's right, but
Is there any training that our new town manager could have a crash course in town finance?
I would expect so. The MMA and all these types have all kinds of stuff. I don't recall
One would
offhand
hope-
if we had a budget line item for training. I think we sacked it. I think we zeroed it out.
Well, that'd be a
So
capital
that's a,
expense.
that's a problem.
Free cash it.
Yeah.
You know, I would think that any conscientious town manager would want to become adept at town finance. So in his inaugural position, he's going to have to do some fast learning. And
Yeah.
there's no time to absorb. I mean, Ryan's templates are owned by the town, correct? So that's,
Yeah.
I think that's a big start,
Yeah.
a good starting point to have access to the Excel sheets.
Yep.
And then it's monitoring.
I think,
Yeah,
it?
the way he did this quarterly, update or like progress of how their each department is doing, something. But that's a problem too because we're already a quarter of the way done with the year.
well, everybody's, and everybody,
and he's-
as we discovered, some people have spent their money,
Yeah.
which,
So yeah, did the candidates know sort of what was going on with our town with the current budget issues, like the current sort of school, recent special town meeting? I mean, were they sort of, I don't want to say quiz, I keep using that term, but like were they
no,
versed
because,
on?
no, because you know why? Because the committee wasn't up on it either. The committee membership
Mhm.
was not fully versed in all of the
Mhm.
myriad of issues facing the town, which we have since learned apparently includes 2 juicy litigations. So, which is all I know. It's all I was able to pry out of anybody. So,
Couldn't get the case.
no, I don't do that. I don't do that kind of stuff. But inquiring minds and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah. So it wasn't.
Well, we'll have to carefully comb through whatever budget comes. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that I think we're going to have to audit it. I think we might want to drag in the department heads and make them justify their lives on that line item. Like the one thing we did that happened with the library, where we learned that
Yeah.
the library has to increase by
Yeah.
2.5%, and otherwise they lose their certification. Blah
Right.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. I didn't know that. Now we know that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be all kinds of learning that's going to have to happen now. And if we're going to do all this learning, we can't quit in 2023 now, can we, gentlemen?
Start making the signs to put on your lawns. Like a 4-person, vote for
The
us
slate.
as a blah. Yeah,
That's
slate.
right.
Yeah.
It's the slate.
I think another thing is, I know one of the things that Ryan did so well with the budget was I feel like he was very savvy about certain costs, which for us are very sort of gray area, with like the insurance, like the municipal, paying that early so we can take $2,000 of savings and trying to
Yeah.
get the heads up from the Rutland Dispatch in terms of what our cost is ultimately going to be, coming up with sort of an accurate number for some of those things.
I'm
And
afraid
also
we're gonna
being
get
able to push back on
Right.
Rutland Dispatch.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm afraid
yeah.
we're going to get taken to the cleaners on this stuff.
But I was saying, so Ryan was really good at that, and whoever the new town administrator is will have to become very savvy quickly, with those types of, even just like the savings that we sort of realized from that, the police and fire and, all of that, you can just sort of, you get a 1% or 2% increase, in your department, but it's I feel like those other sort of costs on our operating budget that are also important, but somehow sometimes being savvy helps, save thousands of dollars.
Well, yeah, except I'm not sure that that's in our
Yeah.
quiver.
Yeah.
I also think that he has no collective bargaining experience either.
When would the next round for that be? That's not yearly, is it? Is it like 3 years that they do the union?
I thought somebody was up
No,
next
I
year.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, because I don't have an either, but
I don't know.
I'm not the town administrator, am I? So,
I'm wondering how much help or assistance Heather Monroe might be
Yep.
able to help us or help town manager, given her background as a town manager, as well as a selectman. I don't want to speak for her, but at least she is someone in our community
Knows, yeah.
who probably has the most grasp on everything that our town manager is going to oversee and perhaps overlook. And that's what maybe she can be looking over his shoulder as a select woman. I'm just brainstorming here.
Yeah. Well, maybe once
She'd kick me if she was here right now.
once they I guess they officially start and hire, maybe we should meet with that, because I feel like the budget we generally don't do anything till around January or
Right.
something, but
Yeah.
well,
like
we wait for
Right, that's what I mean,
Ryan
but, like, to be a
cook
little
it
bit
up,
more-
and then we can
Right.
see what it was.
to
And
be
we have
more
to do
proactive this year.
Yeah.
In November. I don't know when the official date of hire will be or whatever, but
Maybe we should meet on a monthly basis and have
I think we're going to have to.
have the town manager give us a report every month like David did and Ryan did,
yeah.
and not just take it at face value.
No, we're gonna, yes, we're going to
Yep.
have to.
Yep.
We're going to have to.
So we'll find out his starting date, and then we'll just have a meeting set up.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't kick the can down
I
the road
mean,
too
at this
long.
point, the earliest is gonna be the beginning of November
Yeah.
to go through all the process. 2 weeks notice, if they just give 2 weeks notice, background check, probably 5 days for that, business days and all that, so probably be beginning or middle of November.
Mhm.
I think we should also have some sort of a kickoff meeting with our school committee
Yeah.
members.
Yeah.
Because that's the other giant vulnerability we now have.
I think we should tell our new town administrator to budget in a 6% increase at a minimum. You know what I mean? Like as a minimum when trying to get our budget together, because that's been sort of the obstacle that we've always get much less, and then we get these special town meetings, and we get.
Do you remember offhand what the average increase? Isn't it like
It's
isn't
all
it like
over the
6?
place.
I know it's all over the
Yeah.
place, but isn't
It
if we
is,
average?
yes,
Isn't
yeah,
it like
it's something
6%?
like 6%. Yeah,
that's
it is
what I
something
thought
like
because
and that's why we just can't keep up with it. Cause
No, I know.
Yeah, like it's just So,
No, I know.
Yeah, it's.
But I
Yeah.
think that should be the placeholder, because I think part of the problem we had this year, if I remember correctly, is David, with or without Ryan,
Yeah, he had put
in 3%.
Yeah, 3%,
and
which was
said
like,
to him,
yeah.
that's won't even
Right.
be our required local
Right, yeah,
contribution.
yeah.
What is now what?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think the other thing is, if I could stress to this, I mean, if we meet with the school committee, is one, because they had their initial budget and then they revised it, but we sort of all agreed it wasn't really like, they didn't really make any, because they just sort of moved some money around
They
to give
moved it
people a
around.
lower assessment. But if they did that, I guess the thing that bothers me is, why didn't they at least start with that number? They started with a number that really gave 3 towns, including us, I think like a 10% year-over-year increase. That's just an insane, like, that's not affordable. So, like, they need to come with a, I feel like they start so high that they come down, and it looks like, well, we've come down, but you're really starting at a number that's just not a realistic number for any town. I mean, 3 towns voted it down initially. That they need to come to the table with at least a reasonable number that we can then work from, and like, we'll work with them. But like a double-digit increase is a percent year-over-year increase is just not a real number. That's almost insulting to come with that number. And the fact that they could redo some numbers, not making any cuts to any personnel when they came back with their second budget, and it was suddenly it was down. They cut $200,000 out of their budget. It always sort of irks me a little bit that there are aspects in their budget that they just, I don't know if they're like, they just don't touch, or they don't, that they're not cutting as lean as we are, and instead they're just relying on us having 2 special town meetings throughout the year to sort of
Get that way.
yeah. And where we have to spend, I don't know, I don't remember who said it was like $1,000 for, it costs $1,000 or something for a special town meeting, which our budget's already that tight. They pay their school committee members. They have a budget.
Yes, I saw it.
It's
Yeah,
$10,000. Yeah, which again, not a lot of money in the grand scheme of a $30 million budget, but it would say something. Again, all of us are here volunteering, and it just so they wouldn't do it as a volunteer. Then like they spend $50,000 on travel. I mean, that's like, again, show us that you're working with us as opposed to not. That's what I would say too. And one of our members is the chair of the budget subcommittee. So the fact that the budget subcommittee doesn't do anything, when the administration comes out with a 14% or 10% year-over-year increase, it's just.
I wonder why.
I talked to him. Are we still being recorded? Should we? Is this okay?
I don't know. It depends on what you're going to say.
No, I'm just saying. I talked to him when everyone got together at that meeting in here,
Oh yeah.
and he said, "Well, inflation's 8.1%. So what's the big deal?"
Oh,
The fact that
all
we're
right. Okay. All right. All right. That's what I was afraid of.
they don't seem to understand that we are stuck
Like 2.5.
with 2.5.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yep. And with very little new growth. I mean, that's the other. Where Hubbardston's sort of handicapped. We have tiny new growth, so we don't get that expansion. But yeah.
Well, I thought, supposedly, well, not supposedly, we had more new growth this year than we
Yeah.
thought we were going to.
Yeah, that we got the.
well, because they
I don't, why, what is that? What does that, what new growth? What?
New houses.
Like a new
No,
tax
but the
base.
the new
Yeah,
storage
there's no
place,
houses.
I mean, is it
Maybe.
that?
That's not up and running though yet.
No,
Is it
not
just
up
that?
and
Yeah.
running.
Must just be new houses that
Yeah.
real estate taxes that they're
Yeah.
going to contribute.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I don't know.
What
how
about the
much we're
pot
gonna
shops?
get
Are they going to
taxes.
start paying?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah, to meet with the school committee, I'm definitely in favor of that.
All right, if we met with the school committee, what would our agenda look like? What would we, having thrown
Sure.
out the idea, now I'm gonna devil's advocate.
Okay.
Why are we meeting with the school committee? What would we hope to accomplish?
So I guess I would say that when the school administration does their presentation to the school committee, I believe they give it to the budget subcommittee first and then present it to the entire school committee like a week later. If that presentation comes out with double-digit increases for its member towns, that I would ask the budget subcommittee to send it back to the administration. They need to go back and revise that budget. That budget is dead on arrival in my mind. And I like I said at the special town meeting in August, when that budget was presented to the budget subcommittee and the school committee voted in favor of it 14-1 to give 3, which means there were school committee members of Hubbardston and the other 2 towns that got double-digit increases, and their school committee members said, "Yep, that's okay that my town gets a 14% increase."
Yeah,
That has
representing the town.
zero like basis in a reality of like our budget. And so, like, if that comes out again, then the school committee, I would ask our school committee members to say, nope, you need to vote that, not approve that, and to send it back to the administration. The administration was able to cut $200,000 or whatever it was from their June budget to the, till over the summer, from just doing like administration. I don't know how they managed to cut $250,000 in one of their budget revisions without, it didn't seem like any significant. Anything, I didn't notice anything
Well, there
different in
shouldn't
their
be,
budget.
because that's what percent of 40 million?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Nothing.
but my point being though is that like I would like the school committee to be more in tune with what our town can afford, rather than rubber stamping what the school administration presents them.
Well, I think then
It's like
what-
if Ryan came to us with a budget that was a 10% increase in budget. We say, but Ryan, this is not a realistic budget. How are we going to pay for this? Like, where is this money coming from? It's just not a realistic budget.
Well, then maybe the thing to do before we meet with our school committee people.
Meet with FinComs from
we
other
have
towns.
to have.
That's
Well, we have to have a budget. We have to have a starting point. We have to put that card down
like what we're
first.
willing to put into
And
like,
this
what-
is
yeah.
and if you don't like this number, this is where this is how that it's going to have to be made up,
Mhm.
so that there's more information coming from us to them as they review whatever it is they get.
Sure.
Maybe the thing too also is to have a better understanding of their budget process. Does their budget subcommittee meet with anybody, or do they sit there and
Yeah.
twiddle their thumbs and wait for somebody to slide something under the door? And what interaction is there to test those numbers?
I think the select board should also be meeting with the school committee members.
Maybe we can, I think another thing we might consider doing is having joint meetings with them. Maybe our monthly meetings need to be joint meetings, given it would be more efficient, I think, right? Than making him try to meet with us, meet with them and meet with us. So why don't we say,
I
they
think we
meet
should still
twice a
have our
month and-
introductory meeting.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I
like
do
that
too,
idea.
I agree. But they meet twice a month, so one of those meetings should also be with us. And that way we can get an earful of all kinds of things, not just
Mm-hmm.
our little part of the elephant.
It's a good idea.
All right. Are you keeping track of all our good ideas? Because as soon as I walk
YouTube
out of here,
video.
they're going to be gone. Oh, I'm not going to watch this.
Try to watch some of the select board meetings.
Well, yeah, I guess that's how I'm going to be spending my time now, is watching those two if I don't go to them.
But yeah, like
All
meeting
right.
with the school, because I feel like that in the times past when the school administration has come to we've invited them with the school committee to our meetings, they sort of present the budget. They do pretty much the identical. It is the identical presentation as what is given to the school committee. It's the same PowerPoint. It's the same slides.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
And
Yeah.
so, right, so it's sort of like, well, if you
I'd
go
much-
online, you could just see it. It's the same thing. The issue is, at the end of the day, it's like, what is the bottom line? What is the last number that we're getting assigned? From what is our assessment? And that's
I wonder, we could probably make some assumptions and back in from the desired assessment what their budget needs to be, right? Can't we work that sandbox backwards in some way?
I think there would be a way. Like if we started with
I know.
But there's an unknown, though, as far as what the state does.
Mm-hmm.
right. And I think one of the issues is what the school administration does for their budget is they just take. They do it very conservatively, where they just take whatever the going numbers. They don't try to extrapolate. Well, we'll get more money when the school, the House school education committee meets and gives more money. Like they just take whatever the current number is, and that number continues to rise. It's an election year, so then candidates want to get more money for it. But they don't take any of that. They just take whatever the current number is, which is a very conservative estimate, because they know that they're always going to get at least that, but they never actually then. So that's why as we go through the summer and into the fall, the number always keeps dropping because they
Right.
keep getting more money. But rather than assume any risk themselves by trying to extrapolate to what that final number is going to be, they just go with the current number because we're the ones who have to pay for it by hosting more special town meetings. That's we're not invested in the same way as the school committee, because for them it doesn't cost them anything and it costs us everything. And that's the inherent unfairness that I think frustrates me, where it's like, yes, you maybe assume some risk in extrapolating what your state aid is going to be, because that ultimately helps us, because then it lowers our initial number as opposed to at the end. After we've approved a higher number, if there's additional state aid, that doesn't like necessarily come back to us. It just lowers their number. So that's one of the other sort of, and that's not their fault. That's the state. It's funny that the timetables are all backwards in terms of budgeting. We have to have our budget first, but then there's sort of like slots into place at the end. I don't know what can be done about that, but to sort of share in the risk or cost or whatever you want to say in terms of how they assemble their budget. Because that's why they can come out with, we'll come out with a 14% increase. It'll get lowered at some point, but we as a town have to have special town meetings to sort of, account for all of it at the end.
I think then that we need to bake that in the cake as far as our budgets are concerned.
Then we would need a really high 2.5 override. I mean, if we
Well-
had to bake in like a 10% year-over-year increase or something, that would be,
Well, right, but I'm talking about in terms of these, the $1,000 or $2,000 for the special town meetings. We need to budget for 2 of them.
yeah.
That's
Budget that. I thought you meant budgeting their.
Oh, yeah,
their,
no, that's
their
what I mean.
Year-over-year increases.
No, well, I also think it's worth going through that exercise to just put in a number. I mean, maybe we don't have to go through all the shenanigans of backing it out to see what their budget would look like. Let's assume at the end of the day.
I mean, I would say
a 2.5% increase, which is another $1 million, and then
How that trickles in.
deal it out, and how are we going to pay for it? Even on a per town basis, that's another $200,000 increase.
Well, and that's the other sort of thing for us too, where if we went, instead of doing the required local contribution formula, doing a simple student ratio formula, it would be a lot easier, because then you could take their budget and then the problem with trying to extrapolate is, even if we extrapolate, they have a 2.5% increase in their total budget, and we say their state aid is level funded and all of that, we still then have to trickle it down through the required local contribution of the 5 towns. But if a town, I don't think we ever synced all 5 towns in terms of the reassessments.
No, we didn't. No, that never happened.
But so that's why we're gonna never really be able to work backwards, because we'll have the other 4 towns required local contributions which factor in first, but we won't be able to figure out what those will be, because some of them have variables changing. Whereas at least if we had a student ratio amount, it would be easier to sort of try to backtrack. Like, again, the ratios of the student population don't change that much year to year, so it would be easier to then assess what our assessment would be.
All right, then the other thing then, all right, so we're talking about meeting with the new town administrator, figuring out to join in with the select board, meeting with our school committee people. We need to meet with the other towns,
Yeah.
the other
FinComs.
Well, I would point out
When
too.
should we do that? After we have our ducks in a row a little bit with some of these other things? They're not going to have their ducks in a row, so that doesn't matter now, does it? No, it doesn't matter.
We tried to do that a few years
that
ago.
sounds- yeah.
Yeah.
And it just,
I think
Just
Dan
w-
was going to meet. Dan Galante was going to meet. with
yeah, I went with Dan
Oh,
for
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Barry.
yeah.
And then Dan was going to meet with a couple of the other towns. And
I
don't
went
know
with
what
him to
ended up-
Hardwick,
What's that?
and I went with him to
Oh,
Hardwick.
you did? Okay.
We went to Hardwick, and I think we went someplace else, but I don't remember now. And we didn't get very far. But we weren't meeting.
Ocam was the other town.
We weren't but I'm thinking we didn't meet with just the FinComs. We were there with the Board of Selectmen,
Yep.
and that wasn't quite the right venue. I mean, maybe all the selectmen can meet and talk amongst themselves, but I think we should talk to the FinComs and let the FinComs persuade their select boards one way or the other, because we have more in common with them, at least in theory. What do
Maybe
we
we
think?
can learn something from them too.
Yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah, how they've managed to, like how New Braintree has managed to meet their assessment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. all right, so do we have any thoughts on the timing of that?
After the first of the year.
Yeah, I think that's when we generally meet with the schools. I think is like in January, February-ish, around. That's what we've done in the past. I think, if I, sort of vaguely remember.
Well, they've gone to
Well,
they have their budget, they have the public hearing in March usually.
Oh, so then maybe I'm thinking
They
later
start
than that. Okay.
their budget subcommittee starts meeting in January.
Oh,
And
okay.
what that tells me is they receive information from the departments
Mhm.
in December, by the
Right.
end of the calendar year.
Mhm.
I think to meet with the school committee December.
Yeah, we have to be ahead of that curve.
Mhm.
So we should meet with them maybe next month, November.
Yeah.
No one will want to talk to us in December.
Well,
I'm
it's
not
either-
going to want to talk to anybody in December
It's
also.
either the first week of December.
December, yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so what does everybody's calendar
Yeah,
look like
for
then?
December.
Let's
Okay.
take a look. Let's look. All right. So when is Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is the 24th.
Oh wait, I was looking at December. Sorry. Oh, you were talking.
No,
about
I know.
November.
Well,
Sorry.
I-
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah.
said
Oh, so
maybe
like the
November.
week after Thanksgiving, then, yeah, because there's
Yeah, so it'd be the
the
week-
28th or something or 30th.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So you
Or
want to
something.
look at that week?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I could do the 28th, 30th, 1st. Anything but the Tuesday, basically.
Okay.
We're gonna have to choose a couple days.
Oh, yeah.
To
Yeah.
give them the opportunity.
Right. All right. So what do we think? Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday?
Yeah, any of those work for me.
Either
Okay.
day, it's fine with me for now.
All right. Let's see.
Monday, Wednesday, yeah. We can see what they want to do. Yeah.
Okay. Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Week of November 28th. To meet with our school committee, right? That's what
Yeah.
we're doing. Our school committee reps. I don't know who they are. I know I'm Mark and Deb, but didn't
They
somebody else just get appointed?
somebody, I think. Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Donald, I think, was the name.
I have no idea.
All right. All right. Well, I step, and then she can. It's Deb and Mark, and then they can figure that out. Okay. All right. So we want to do that. We want to meet once a month. We want to meet once a month with the select board, right?
Yep.
And that's going to be our meeting. We aren't going to meet again.
Unless
other than
something
that,
comes
right?
up, right?
Unless we decide to at the meeting, but currently the plan is to do that. And the TA kickoff meeting with the TA. Let's pretend we know when he's going to start. And why don't we aim for something like maybe sometime the week of the 14th of November?
Yep.
Okay.
Like,
November.
and let me see here, because the select board meets every other Monday. So they're here on the 17th. They're going to be here on Halloween. They're going to be here Monday the 14th. So he'd be tied up with them on the 14th, so we have to pick some other day. Unless we want to meet with him on the 21st.
Oh, with the select board, you mean? On the
Well,
20th?
no. it's
No,
not.
I mean without. I mean,
Oh.
this is
Just-
our
Oh, that's the
meeting
Monday
just
right
with him.
before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that would be fine, but
Yeah.
how about any time during the week of the 14th?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
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 it just
yeah.
can't be that Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
16th.
16th?
Yeah, 16th is good. I can't do Tuesday evenings. That's the only.
Okay.
But I could do it
11,
other
16,
days, yeah.
or 11, 17 then
Yeah.
is the Thursday?
Yeah. either
Right?
one.
Everybody good? All right.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. And then meeting with the FinComs, town FinComs. We were gonna do this starting in January, right? Is that what we just said?
Meeting with who?
The FinComs, the
Oh,
town
the other
FinComs.
towns?
Didn't we say January? Did we say January after the new year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep,
After the
We
new
gotta
year.
get the idea out there though before.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Alert the FinComs that we want to do this. All right. I was getting, I don't know if you all are copied on these or not. Do you get the monthly budget versus actuals?
No.
All right. Get the monthly budgets versus actuals. I was getting them. I will, if I still get them, I'll send them to you. That's how we're gonna figure out what, if any, free cash we have
Mhm.
and who might be coming to us to get some money. One of the things we should think about is how we are going to allocate our reserve fund. Are we gonna do that on a first come, first served basis? Or are we gonna make everybody wait and then we will decide how to spend the money? Which is what, as you can tell, what I'm leaning towards, because something really, really important might happen after some of these other little less important things come wandering in. That could have been solved by some bake sale or some other something or other. Or some other ask. Just a thought.
I think since our money is less already,
Mhm.
I think it makes sense to,
I mean, like, for
Like-
example, we have the well at the
the
rec field. That they, and I assume they need the well to water the grass.
Have we ever actually
they're-
gotten that request yet? We haven't even.
We
yeah.
don't, A, we don't have the request.
Yeah.
B, we aren't going to, I would suggest we defer any action on that request because nobody needs their lawn watered right about now. And so that can wait. That doesn't have to
did
be
they
fixed
already
now.
do it?
I don't know.
I was under the impression they
Has
did
that
it.
been fixed still?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure at a couple, future town meeting, maybe in a couple years, we'll pay for it in free cash.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, but that's just something that I was
Mhm.
thinking about.
Tactics.
Depending on how these things come in, because there were some other.
Well, just like when Ryan wanted to do something with the locks here.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We
He
couldn't.
said we had to go, no, you gotta go with the budget one.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, the electronic ones with the keypads, and they're like, no, we need just the. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. All right. What else was I thinking of in terms of the budget itself? Well, I guess then we'll wait to see what our town administrator comes up with, and then I guess we'll decide how we want to react to it. If we want to call in the department heads and make them explain themselves, or what.
Maybe he should do that first.
Yeah. I think
Well,
we look at
he
what they're
may or may
asking
not
for.
do it, but my question is, do we want to do it? I think we might.
I mean, I think at least in my mind, the only department's not really a department, but the only budgetary item that is always the issue is the school assessment. You know what I mean? Like the police budget or fire EMS, like those, they don't seem to need a lot of I don't want to say oversight or guidance, but like we don't seem to ever have a problem with what their numbers are. It's the school that is the 100% the problem.
Well, part of that though is because Ryan is always,
Oh, yeah, that's
has
true, I
pushed
suppose,
back
yeah.
saying, okay, talk to the two chiefs and
Yeah.
to Travis saying, this is what you have to work with.
Right,
Give me,
Right.
what can you do?
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could go to those departments and say, yeah, to give you know, like, I don't know, pick a number, 1.5% or 2% increase over the previous year's budget, and then that's what you have to make do with. And I don't know how else we can, aside from I guess contractual salary, the salaries, whatever that contractual.
Well, that's the thing, but that's the type of diligence we would then have to start doing,
Mhm.
where I have never done that
Yeah.
before,
Yep.
but now we would have to do that.
I
To-
think my opinion is we should wait, see what they come with, and then if we
Mhm.
question it, we're looking at the amounts compared to the previous amounts, and they don't seem right, then we're gonna have to ask them, because really, it is the TA's job to be doing that, and we shouldn't be doing his or her job
Right.
for them.
Right.
Let's give them a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And then just scrutinize it more closely, I guess.
That's
yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean, and
Yes.
so I'm
Yep.
thinking that,
Yep.
if we would have the budget from this year, which suggests we all get, and we all keep this time, instead of me throwing it in the shredder, oh, that's all over with. So, I'm gonna keep that. And then I also wanna see what the actuals look like, because the actuals is what I think we're gonna need to hold everybody to.
Yep.
And I realize that if anybody's watching this, they'd figure out that this is a license to spend, but that won't, because I'm gonna see what you've done month to month, so the jig is up. And, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, yeah, the school is the problem. But because of the school, everybody has a problem now.
Right.
Let's take a look if I can find it here, since we have a little time, as to what our capital plan. Let's see if I can search and find anything. Oh my God. Capital plan, when was that? What were the years it spanned
It was one at 22 to 26 or something, I think, was the most recent one.
Okay, here it is, bingo. Yay. All right, let's see what the plan is for 21, 22 to 6, blah, 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 blah. It's been, oh no, really? All right. Proposed capital plan, annual expenditures. Where did I get this number? My number isn't right.
I thought it was like 505,000.
It
or
was,
something.
and I
Yeah.
saw that somewhere, but now I'm looking at this proposed 22 to 26 capital plan. It's $1 million.
Well, that's not happening.
Well, I know.
Well, 22 to 26?
Yeah.
Well, that's 4 years.
But it's by I remember looking at the
It's
like
got a
spreadsheet. It's got
column.
columns.
Yeah,
It's got columns. Yeah.
Maybe, I wonder if I looked at the other one. Let me take a look at this. Here's the one for 21 to 25. Maybe I looked at this. Oh, this is a different number. This one for fiscal year 24 is 525,000. Maybe my eyes are bad. Well, anyway, we're gonna look at the 22 to 26 one. Guess I better update my little talk. Let's see. This says proposed capital plan. Yeah. Multi-year or alternative funding source projects. This is even worse. Oh my God. Fiscal year 24. Dump truck with plow, 200,000. DPW roadways additional road repair, 100,000.
Yeah.
Ford F-450 with plow, 60,000.
F4, yeah, that amount's not realistic.
I got an F-Ford 250 with plow that's for sale. Maybe I'll ask Travis if he wants it. A steel trimmer, which I guess is a weed whacker, for $500. Fire Station 1 roof, $28,000. Fire truck, $550,000. Windows replacements in the library, 32. Police cruiser, 55. Skate park renovation, 20 grand. And Curtis Field walking track, 50 grand. That got, that or some of it got pushed into ARPA.
That's good.
So that's, but the total is $1,095,500.
That is not what. Yeah, that's not what I remember
I
seeing.
know.
That's-
Well, I
yeah.
can't
Let me go to
reproduce my own
Hubbardston.
result. I don't know where.
Let me go to the. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, see what you can find.
Were you in the town administrators section of the website? Is that?
I'm in search results.
Oh. Okay. Town administrator.
That's a good idea. Let me look at town
There
administrator.
was. I want to say capital plan in there. Budget and finance.
Let me get out of search results.
Oh no, here it is. There's a 23 to 27 capital plan.
Oh, all right. Oh,
That must be it. Yeah, because that has. Let's
All
see, FY 24. No, that one has $1.2 million. Wait a minute.
God.
What?
what is happening?
Proposed capital
Can I be
plan?
so wrong?
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, that's.
Administrator, budget.
Oh, you know what? Because there's a second page.
Oh. Capital planning and
Oh, yeah, because the first page of FY24 is the $500,000 basically, but then the second page, which I guess includes more things. I guess I don't quite.
23, 27 capital plan.
Yeah, why did they
Let's see.
tally it on that line? Yeah, I guess if you don't go to the second page, it's $1 million because it adds another. Oh no, that's multi-year or alternative funding source projects. That's the second.
Oh, here it is. All right. Yeah. Here's the 500.
Yeah, annual expenditures of FY
Okay.
2024. Yeah.
All right. All right. So dump truck with plow is now 210,000. The fire truck is gone. Road repair is there. F-450 is still there. Okay. So all this got peeled back. Well, still $500,000. I wonder what happened to the fire truck.
Was that an
Next year.
ARPA?
That
Was
just-
that an
just-
ARPA money? Didn't we use?
No,
ARPA?
we paid.
No.
We
Oh.
bought an ambulance with our.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
we-
right. Okay.
Oh, so the
They
ambulance.
put in for the fire. Well, he put in for the fire truck,
Right.
but that
Well, the fire truck
Couldn't-
must be coming up in the following year, because I know.
it's not. I don't. It's not listed here
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
not on here.
It's not on here.
I don't know what happened then, because
Me neither.
Oh no, fire truck. It's
Where
oh
is
no,
it?
it is. It's five. They have 550 fire truck. This is on the multi-year or alternative funding source project. So I don't know if they.
Oh.
Oh yep, ARPA application. That's what happened. It probably. Yep, it shows up as ARPA application. In the notes. So on the second page of the plan.
Yeah, well, that ain't what happened. The ambulance happened. Yeah, he thought all this
I
stuff
know
was gonna
there
come.
was talk about considering using the marijuana money to help pay for the fire truck in the future, but
Yeah, but
We
don't
haven't
know when
actually
that's gonna
gotten.
hit.
We haven't actually gotten anything from the host community agreement.
I don't think
No.
so.
And there's also a sales tax that's put in place as well,
Yeah,
which we obviously have
3%.
not gotten. But we have not. That has not been, and that hasn't started yet because they haven't sold anything. Is that
Right. Because
So-
that's only going to apply to the retail.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's only
retail
retail
buyers.
anyway. Oh, so we don't
Yeah.
even have a. There's not even a retail shop.
No,
It's just
there's nothing.
yeah.
Right now,
It's
they're
like
just,
wholesale or something. Is
Yeah.
what they, okay.
Yeah, so there's no
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
sales tax to be had.
Okay. What was? Yeah. I wonder what the host community agreement amount of money was supposed to be. Because that was, I think, for 5 years we were going to get some amount of money.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Budget and finance contracts.
No, no worries.
Regional agreement, collective bargaining. Oh, collective bargaining agreements. I could.
Is that on the town
Read and
administrator's? Is
learn.
that on the town administrator's webpage?
Yeah.
Oh.
Insurance, contract archive, regional dispatch. Yeah. My spare time, I should sit here and read these things. Cry. I don't see. I'm looking here and I don't see the
Yeah, the HCA.
the HCA.
The
things.
select board would know. I mean, they negotiated it or whatever.
I know, but I'm thinking that it might.
Because
Ryan
the-
put all this, slammed all this stuff on this website, so it's got to be someplace.
It's not well
Maybe
indexed.
economic
It's not
development.
well indexed. Actually, maybe.
Maybe
so-
not.
But anyway, long story short, that money is essentially like one-time money because it's only the host community agreement is like for 5 years, I think. So that money is not like like permanent recurring revenue like a tax
Right.
would be. So that would be a good use of into capital projects.
Mhm.
Is that what they're called? Host community agreements?
HCA, yeah. Because they just made an amendment to the HCA. I was
Yes.
watching a
Right.
Yeah, to let them manufacture.
yeah, to manufacture something else or something. But like, how does that? Where's the?
that was after they paid their taxes.
Right, but that's just taxes. That's not like on top of. There's like
Shake 'em
extra
down.
marijuana money
So
that we
hilarious.
need like to use. But anyway,
I can't find it on here.
Yeah.
It won't let me.
yeah.
Can't search narrowly.
I bet Sandy would know too. She would probably
Yeah, she might know.
know what it is. So.
Yeah, she might know. All right. Well. All right. Well, we all have a busy season ahead of us, it sounds.
Mm.
And I'm not going to re-up unless you all re-up. So I'm just saying that we need to have
We can't leave a town.
we
at the
need
town
to
hall,
have
yeah.
an understanding.
You know what we could do? We could all look for an appointment. And we don't have to get signatures.
Yeah, we can just limp it out year to year. That's a thought.
Or write-in campaign. My write-in campaign didn't work. That I remember I sent the email out and it
Yeah.
didn't somehow I had the same number of votes as somebody else. That's why it was like a
Yeah,
failure to
that
elect.
I don't.
I don't know how that happened, but because I asked, I was like, oh, like, cause I think I got like 6 votes, but someone
Yeah.
else also got 6 votes.
You're not as popular as you thought, Josh.
I know, apparently. I know.
to
Between like,
break it to you.
One,
between
two,
me, my
three,
wife,
four,
my
you're
me, my
five.
wife, my in-laws, like that should be like 8 votes, like write-ins. Yeah,
Your in-laws, I don't know. I don't think so.
they were on vacation. I don't know. Yeah, right. But anyway,
All right. All right.
all right.
I think that's it. Anything else from anybody?
Nope.
We had enough? Motion to adjourn?
Make motion.
All right.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
7:45 adjourned.
Sweet.